I know that you pay a lot of other taxes, but I'm asking you the specific question. Is it true that you paid $750 in federal income taxes each of those 2 years?
I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax. And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers.
Show us your tax
I paid $38 million 1 year. I paid $27 million.
Show us your tax
1 year.
returns.
I went. You'll see it as soon as it's finished. You'll see it. You know, if you want to go to the Board of Elections. There's a 118-page or so report that says everything I have, every bank I have, I'm totally under-leveraged because the assets are extremely good. And we have a very, I built
Sir,
a great
I'm asking
company.
you a specific question, which
but
is...
let me tell you.
I understand all of that. I understand all of that. No, Mr. President, I'm asking you a question. Will you tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017?
Millions of dollars.
You paid millions of dollars?
Millions of dollars,
So
yes.
not $750?
Millions of dollars, and you'll get to see it. And you'll get to see it.
Tax. Back in 2016 and 2017, he paid only $750. 2018 and 2019 combined, that was about $1.1 million. And 2020, he paid $0 in income tax.
What's actually kind of amazing about Trump's taxes is that all of the worst case scenarios that we'd opined might be the case ended up being exactly as bad as we thought. In the aftermath of the Ways and Means Committee having released 6 years of Trump's tax returns, it turns out, and I hope you're sitting down for this, that Trump lied about the exact thing that we figured he would lie about. Now, Trump claims that he paid, quote, millions of dollars in 2016 and 2017, which is quite the claim considering the actual number that Trump paid in taxes was $750 per year. $750, not even $1,000. You couldn't even buy a used Honda Civic with what Trump paid in taxes. But sure, millions of dollars. Got it. And by the way, for those who say, well, he took losses those years on his businesses, and so of course he didn't have to pay taxes, that's how the system works. That might make sense if we didn't also know that Trump would lie about his property values when it came to taxes and loans. The guy's entire MO was to cheat the system, and the result of that was someone who paraded himself around as some patriot, some champion of working people, some American hero, and yet this purported billionaire barely paid a cent toward the country that he claimed to love so much. Barely paid a cent toward firefighters and police officers and teachers. But please, tell me again how he's a patriot. But look, we already knew that Trump was a tax cheat, just like we already knew that the Trump Organization was a con. Trump cheating on his taxes in the United States, while shameful, wasn't surprising. But here's where it gets more insidious. Trump claimed to have closed down certain bank accounts abroad, and yet according to his own tax returns, that wasn't the case. Here's what Trump pretended about his Chinese bank account, followed by the reality.
This is for you. Since you took office, you've never divested from your business. You've personally promoted your properties abroad. A report this week, which was referenced, does indicate that your company has a bank account in China. So how can voters know that you don't have any foreign conflicts of interest?
I have many bank accounts, and they're all listed, and they're all over the place. I mean, I was a businessman doing business. The bank account you're referring to, which is everybody knows about it, it's listed. The bank account was in 2013. That's when it was. It was opened it was closed in 2015, I believe. And then I decided, because I was thinking about doing a deal in China like millions of other people. I was thinking about it, and I decided I'm not going to do it. Didn't like it. I decided not to do it. Had an account open, and I closed it.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then, unlike him, where he's vice president and he does business, I then decided to run for president after that. That was before. So I closed it before I even ran for president, let alone became president. Big difference.
The other thing, and this is important because it was one of the things that we are looking for in these additional documents, is his foreign bank accounts. We have just learned that he did hold foreign bank accounts the entire time that he was in office. In 2015, actually, let's start with 2016. He had bank accounts in the United Kingdom, Ireland, China, and St. Martin. 2017, UK, Ireland, and China, and then 2018 and 2020 just in the UK. The reason why this is so important, we're going to do a deeper dive into all these foreign entities, is because the entanglement that Trump had with foreign business was a huge part of the narrative while he was in office. And now we're going to find out actually how far that actually went.
I'm sorry, but I just find it so funny that this guy predicated his entire political identity on being tough on China. The guy was doing business in China. He had bank accounts in China. He was in bed financially with the Chinese, all the while making his supporters out to look like abject fools by just offering these surface-level condemnations of China. Tell you what, the silence from all those people who spent the last 2 years whining about Hunter Biden's Chinese business dealings while failing to say a single word about Donald Trump's Chinese business dealings is pretty damn deafening right about now. And look, it's not just the fact that Trump did business overseas. Other than him lying about it, we could have assumed as much. But the fact is that this is something that Americans had a right to know about given Donald Trump's position as president. You don't think it's important to know whether the guy is conducting foreign policy based on his own business interests? To know whether he's sending American kids to die in wars that are selected based on one man's financial dealings? If it was Joe Biden, I sure as hell would want to know. And yet the fact that Republicans won't offer up a single syllable to condemn Donald Trump goes to show that all of their faux outrage about being patriots was just a thin veneer to hide the fact that they're not interested in protecting the country, they're interested in professing loyalty to Donald Trump. But remember, definitely not a cult. Now, Trump responded to the public release of his tax returns with a statement saying, quote, "The Democrats should have never done it, the Supreme Court should have never approved it, and it's going to lead to horrible things for so many people. The great USA divide will now grow far worse. The radical left Democrats have weaponized everything, but remember, that is a dangerous two-way street." Ah yes, a two-way street. I don't see any way around the fact that House Republicans will likely compel Joe Biden's tax returns to also be released now, which would be bigger news if he hadn't already released them himself, along with every other president for the last 50 years. But yeah, that two-way street sure does sound horrible. So look, you might be asking, what was the point of this? Well, the point was to see if there is a legislative remedy needed to bolster the presidential audit process. And considering the IRS didn't even start to audit Donald Trump until 2019, and considering even that audit was only triggered after the Ways and Means Committee sought Donald Trump's taxes, and considering the audit wasn't even finished, the answer is very clearly yes, we do need legislation. The House had passed a bill that would require the IRS to publicly release presidents' tax returns and do mandatory audits, and that passed by a vote of 222 to 201. The bill wasn't passed by the Senate, what with the 60-vote threshold and a Republican Party's inability to do anything that might even give the impression that they're taking action against Donald Trump. But again, definitely not a cult. And so now we'll continue to carry on with no laws protecting the American people from a president who may very well be seeking power solely to benefit himself financially. And the same people who fall over themselves claiming to be patriots will help enable that behavior because somehow, in some parallel universe, sucking up to an autocrat steering foreign policy to make himself personally richer makes his supporters feel good, even though they derive exactly nothing from it. Except, of course, the minor pang of shame that comes from moments like this one, where all of us can point to Trump's tax returns, which show exactly what we thought they'd show from the beginning. Before you go, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. You can click the thumbnail right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work even further, the best way is to subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. There you can check out my interviews with major players in the world of politics, including President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, Katie Porter, Jamie Raskin, and so many more. Plus other interviews that live exclusively on the podcast. That link is also right here on this screen, or just search No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen wherever you listen to podcasts.